Thank you, Joseph. Welcome, everyone. My name is Vince Watchhorn. I'm the president of the Friends of Cooch's Bridge Historic Site. Our mission is to ensure the preservation of this special place. And our first strategic goal is to help the site owner, the Division of Historical and Cultural Affairs, to prepare this place to be open to the public so everyone can come here and understand the history of Cooch's Bridge. We aim to achieve our mission inclusively and with integrity so that this place truly belongs to all of us. We consider it a great honor to have all of you here today, and I appreciate that you've chosen to take your Sunday afternoon and spend it together. Please join me in thanking the Division of Historical and Cultural Affairs and its site supervisor here at Cooch's Bridge, Caitlin Dykes, for allowing us to use the property today. It is, after all, an important property. Cooch's Bridge tells a broad and holistic history of Delaware, the intertwining stories of many past populations. All we need to do is look around and we see the impact that others before us have had on this place, the impact that they continue to bestow upon us right up to today. Everywhere we look, we see the contributions of laborers who shaped the land, tilled the fields, maybe built the buildings, and definitely made the machinery run. Many of these were African Americans, enslaved, some free, and with their hands and their minds, they made this place what it is today. Cooch's Bridge is hallowed ground. Most people, if they know Cooch's Bridge, they know it as the site of Delaware's only Revolutionary War battle, where American soldiers fought for their country's independence. Some 24 and more people lost their lives in these fields and are buried somewhere in the surrounding acreage. They fought for freedom. And yet we also know the cruel irony of that fight. That just as those soldiers were fighting for our basic core American values, there was another population being robbed of them, stripped of their own freedom, their own liberty, their own independence. Their lives also make this hallowed ground. Today, Brandon Bryce and Patty Wilson Aiden will lead us in commemorating the step some 88 years after the Battle of Cooch's Bridge, when all persons enslaved within any of the United States were finally emancipated. It's my great pleasure to introduce Brandon Bryce.
All right. Good afternoon. Can everyone hear me? All right, just making sure. First of all, kudos to the band, the drummer over there. I thought I was in Jamaica for a minute. I almost got excited. You know, today, on behalf of United Way, we always talk about equity. And it's interesting because today, not only is this the site, what some believe was where the first American flag was actually flown to represent freedom, to represent justice, to represent equity. But it was also the site, as Victor mentioned, slaves. Now, as we commemorate Juneteenth, we talk about Juneteenth was the day in Galveston, Texas, when the slaves were free. But the irony of that is many slaves still didn't know that they were free. And it took hundreds of years for those slaves to get the memo. And so today, when we talk about how do we empower people, which is the work that we do with United Way, in partnership with Cooch's Bridge, we talk about getting the memo. When we talk about the fact that even though it's been 200 years since slavery ended, since the Emancipation Proclamation, we still have folks in the community who don't and have not gotten the memo. When we talk about the empowerment of quality for schools in black and brown communities, folks still have not gotten the memo. when we talk about the fact that in some cases we're still dealing with public safety and crime issues in black and brown communities at rapid high, folks still have not gotten the memo. And so today, on behalf of United Way, we thank you in partnership with Cooch's Bridge. But today is a special day on this hollow ground when we talk about getting the memo, waking up. There is still work to be done 200 years later. Thank you.
Hattie Wilson Aden is an advisor to the board of the Friends of Cooch's Bridge.
Thank you, Vince. Thank you, Bryce. You hit the mark there. Let me see if I can adjust this a little bit. And thank you, everyone, for being here. So they're doing the wind thing, you know, the windblown thing. Thank you. I appreciate that. So I appreciate this opportunity to participate in this special presentation by the Friends of Cooch's Bridge. I am the great-great-grandchild of Arabella Holland, a woman who worked in the kitchen right over there. I've always known my family's connection to this place, and as a person who is proud of her family's history, I'm committed to the exploration and recognition of that history as we pursue this more expansive and inclusive history of Cooch's Bridge that Vince referred to. So I'm very pleased that the Friends of Cooch's Bridge have chosen to celebrate Juneteenth and to use this occasion to honor the enslaved people who lived on this place. It is a recognition that is a long time coming because this expanded, more inclusive history is a truth that has been unspoken and silenced. Under the cloak of silence, the very act of silence, the importance of those enslaved people and their contribution has been diminished, and their essential humanity has been denied. So I welcome today as a day of truth-telling, of honoring those who were too long unrecognized, those who were invisible and unheard. So I will be honest. I have mixed emotions about Juneteenth. Bryce just told us the history. It was June 19th, 1865. President Abraham Lincoln had issued the Emancipation Proclamation 2.5 years earlier on April 9th, 1865. On that day, the Civil War had ended 2 months earlier. And on June 9th, 1865, 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, 2 months after the end of the Civil War, Major General Gordon Grange rode into Galveston, Texas with a decree to free the enslaved people in Texas. The history goes that upon hearing that extraordinary news, the streets erupted with singing and dancing and cheering as the enslaved people celebrated their newly announced freedom, and Juneteenth was born. That celebration in Galveston, Texas has spread across the country as Black people, the descendants of those who had been enslaved for centuries, celebrated our freedom, celebrated our survival, we celebrated our resilience, and we continue to celebrate today. And while that freedom, that survival, that resilience is certainly, unquestionably worthy of celebration, I have to admit that I look upon Juneteenth with those mixed emotions. Admittedly, I give you this caveat, I'm looking at that first celebration in 1865 through 21st century eyes with 21st century sensibilities. But that 2.5 year delay between the Emancipation Proclamation and that 2-month delay following the end of the Civil War bothers me. In fact, it fills me with indignation because to me, 1 minute delay in letting those enslaved people know that they were finally free was 1 minute too long. It was a fundamental and very, very grave injustice. Yet another denial of their God-given rights, yet another denial of their humanity. So I look upon that delayed announcement of freedom with indignation. We all know that justice delayed is justice denied. So I have this feeling of indignation. And my indignation is righteous. My indignation is righteous, for in delaying their freedom, those in power were diminishing the urgency of the circumstances of those enslaved people. They were denying their humanity and the rights of liberty and opportunity that should have been direct byproducts of their newfound freedom. These people were being erased and their voices were being silenced. So even as we celebrate our freedom, our survival, our resiliency as a people, I cannot forget its context. Centuries of enslavement, centuries of oppression, and even after they were legally proclaimed free, they were marginalized, judged to be unimportant, not even significant enough to be told of their own freedom. Their interests were being subordinated to preserve and elevate the interest of the powerful. Now, the parallels between what happened in Galveston, Texas on June 19th, 1865, and the history of Cooch's Bridge and other places throughout this country is undeniable. Even as the history of Cooch's Bridge was chronicled and celebrated, the stories of the enslaved people who were part of this place was marginalized. Their stories went untold and their voices unheard as the story of the powerful was elevated and preserved. Even as a child growing up in Newark, I understood that the history of this place, its role in the Revolutionary War and the prestige of the Cooch family, but the story of my family, the story of Arabella, wasn't part of that celebrated history. And once again, I was filled with indignation. And I believe, once again, my indignation was righteous. How can you tell the story of Cooch's Bridge without telling the story of the enslaved people there, without recognizing their role and contribution? In fact, the story of this place is incomplete if it is centered only on one event in one family that lived here. Justice demands that the story of the indigenous people must be celebrated. The story of the laborers, like Arabella, must be told, for they all, white people and people of color, landowners and workers, contributed to the true history of this place. But you can't stand in indignation and anger and expect change. Barack Obama reminds us that change will not come if we wait for some other person or if we wait for some other time. He reminds us that we are the ones we are waiting for. We are the change that we seek. So I'm proud to be part of the Friends of Cooch's Bridge, to work with like-minded people to be part of the change that will ensure that the unheard voices will be amplified, that the delayed stories will finally be told, and those marginalized people who gave their labor, their trust, their time, who have gone unrecognized for so long, would be heard, seen, and given the recognition they deserve. I am Patty Wilson Aden, daughter of Alberta and Richard Wilson. Richard was the son of Alice and George Wilson. George was the son of Laura and Charles Wilson. And Laura was the daughter of Arabella Holland, that worker in those kitchens. We know that Arabella was a free woman. And the truth is, we don't know a lot more about her. but we know that she was part of this community, that she worked and interacted with others here. Through the work of the Friends of Cooch's Bridge and the Cooch's Bridge Historic Site, her story will be told, her voice will be heard, and she will be given the dignity of recognition. I've come to understand that even through my indignation, and even though that indignation was righteous, the legacy of Arabella and others is better served by working with a group whose values include diversity, collaboration, and respect. So let's make Juneteenth at Cooch's Bridge about our commitment to those values. There is power in those principles. So let's make Juneteenth about our progress in breaking the cycle of delayed justice. Let's make Juneteenth about breaking centuries of silence by bringing recognition and dignity to the enslaved. So let us say their names. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty. And thank you, Brandon. I have a little something for both of you. We're in a phase in the Friends of Cooch's Bridge where we are building our founding friends group. And Patty and Bryce, you are founding friends. Thank you for being a part. Come on up, I have a little something for you. Brandon, thank you. And Patty, thank you.
Since when did we shake hands? We
Oh.
hug. Thank you.
Much appreciated. The Friends of Cooch's Bridge Historic Site is funding ongoing research into the African American heritage at this site. This summer, in fact, we're applying a Delaware Humanities Grant to enable an archival research project that'll help us learn more about the identities, the life narratives, and the lasting contributions of the African Americans here, both enslaved and free, those who lived, worked, fought, and died at Cooch's Bridge. As we enable this work, we make a commitment to share the outcome of the work with our descendant families and the entire Cooch's Bridge community. In time, the full story of Cooch's Bridge can be told, but there is still much to learn. I'd like to thank Wade Katz for the research that has led so far to the identification of many people enslaved at Cooch's Bridge. I'd also like to thank our descendant families who are constantly doing research about their families and about Cooch's Bridge, and who are also adding to the learning of what this place is in its full existence. More will be found in time. More people will be known for their lives and for the impact that they have had here. Perhaps next year we can return to this same space, this hallowed ground, and speak a longer list of people we know. Knowing more, understanding more, these things help us more wholly capture the past and carry it with us as our luggage as we take steps forward to shape society with liberty and justice for all. May we take a moment, please, for silent reflection and celebration to honor all of those who were enslaved here, whether we know their names or not. And for those whom we do know, let us say their names. Some people have cards. Some people have information. If you know of a name that is not on our list, please speak it. Let us say their names. Go again in the front row. Go, Tony. More will be known. Thank you for being here today.